Chodesh Tov. As Tom mentioned, this siyum is Lunishmat, my father, son of Bracha. Seriously, it was a couple weeks ago. I wanted to stay the siyum. I was in the US. I wanted to stay the siyum to do it with you guys. So I did a session of Sota. I just want to mention a couple of Gemaras, the next message I found, and then do the siyum. So on in Sota Daf Yud Aleph Avad Aleph, it asks an interesting question. So we're all familiar with Moshe Rabbeinu, right? Spends all this energy, all this time, 40 years, more than that, taking Bnei Israel out of Egypt, bringing them through the desert, dealing with all their complaints. Har Sinai, he puts in all this work, and then at Devarim, he can't go into Eretz Israel. Hashem says no. And the Torah describes so emotionally how Moshe begs and begs and begs Hashem, please let me go into Eretz Israel. I want to go in so badly. And God says no, it's not right for you. So the Gemara asks the question, why did Moshe want to go in so badly? For the fruit, the nice views, some like nice experience. Why do you want to go in? So Gemara answers. I want to read it out because I think it's very powerful. It says, Moshe's reasoning was, Harba mitzvos, Yitztavu Yisrael, the aim Miskaimin, Elev Eretz Yisrael. Right, there are so many mitzvos that you can only do in Eretz Yisrael. Echanis ani la'aretz Ganesh Yiskaimu Kulan al Yadi. Right, I want to go into Eretz Yisrael so I can do each of them myself. I think Moshe teaches us a very important lesson here. And that lesson, I think, is that to a Jew, each and every mitzvah is absolutely precious. Moshe Rabbeinu, what did he have he needed to do more mitzvahs? He's the most perfect human that ever existed. And yet he said, I'm going to reach out, I'm going to grab for mitzvahs, as many as I possibly can. He begged Hashem to be able to go into, Hashem himself told him, you don't have to do those mitzvahs, you don't have to go into Eretz Yisrael. And Moshe said, no, I want to. I want to experience what it's like to have a relationship with you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in the context of living in our homeland, in the context of all the mitzvahs that only exist there. That's one Gemara. Second Gemara I just want to mention, so the last parak of Sota is about the Egla Rufa. So essentially, to sum it up very quickly, the process of the Egla Rufa is that when a dead body is found outside of the bounds of one individual city, so Chachamim go out and they have to measure to figure out which city was the body found closest to, and then they go through the process of the Egla Rufa that determines where the calf comes from that they then slaughter, etc. So the Gemara asks a question. Let's say that the body, it's outside the bounds of a city, but it's very, very clear which city is closest to. There's no question, there's no self-thing. We know, we can see the city, it's right there. We know which one is closest to. So do they still have to measure? Now, let me put this in context. There's one extreme opinion, I think, but an opinion of the Gemara, the people who are out here measuring, who have this mitzvah on them, one opinion even says it's essentially all the most important people in Israel. It's the Kohen Gadol, the Melech, all 70 members of the Sanhedrin. This is one opinion, but that's the caliber of people who are spending their time going out to measure to see which city is closest to the dead body found. Because it's part of the mitzvah. But here we have a case where there's no practical use to this step of the mitzvah. To measure to a city that we already know is closer. For what outcome? We already know the outcome. There's no practical point. And yet the Gemara says, they still do it. They still measure. And I think that, again, this really highlights the point. Every single detail of every mitzvah to a Jew, it's precious. It's what we grab for them. We grab for the details of every single mitzvah because they help us relate to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and build that relationship that we're striving for our entire lives. Just to finish up Sota, so also an interesting line towards the last Mishnah essentially describes all these different character traits which existed before, in the time, even in the second Beis Hamikdash, but once the era of the Tanaim passed away, slowly, all these different character traits, as each of these incredible characters, personalities passed away, certain character traits were kind of lost on us. It says that they were bittul. So one of the lines of the Mishnah, it says, this is the last one mentioned, Mishemes Rebbe Batla Anava v'Yirascheh. Right, when Rebbe passed away, so Anava, right, humility and fear of sinning, it was Batal. It was the same caliber of humility of Anava doesn't exist since Rebbe passed away. Now, a very strange line. Amarle Rav Yosef Latana. Rav Yosef says to the person stating this Mishnah, Lo tisni Anava de'ika ana. What are you talking about? Humility isn't gone. I'm right here. I'm humble. I still represent this character trait. Very weird line. So let's into this a little bit. I've already leave with Slavi out a little bit with this line. And he mentions that, that essentially, I think it was a friend who said this, that you have to kind of change your perception of what it means to be an Anav. Right? An Anav is not thinking that you're nothing that you're dirt, that you have nothing to bring to the world. So obviously you do. Hashem put you in the world, right? Anava is recognizing all the positive traits that you have and recognizing that they're from Hashem. That Hashem specifically gave you those traits to do X, Y, and Z with, all these positive things with, but they're from Hashem. They're not from you. And that's what true Anava is. So the context of this Gemara, right? So he's saying, don't say that I want to be honest, right? I have to represent. Hashem gave me this incredible gift of being able to feel a sense of humility. And I'm going to express that and say, like, I think that I still represent that level of this midah, and that I can represent to others while I'm still alive. And that's what it is, I think is a good shot in what he was saying. And last line, then Rav Nachman said similarly, Latana lo tisne yerasche diika'ana. Janalach egla arufa v'slika la masech sota. Hajar Allah masech sota v'hajar Allah. Data Allah masech sota. Data Allah lo nishe mina masech sota v'lo tisne mina la v'alma adiv la v'alma ta'asya. Hajar Allah masech sota v'hajar Allah. Data Allah masech sota v'data Allah lo nisne mina masech sota v'lo tisne mina la v'alma hadim la v'alma ta'asya. Hajar Allah masech sota hajar Allah. Hajar Allah. So, Datan Allah Pasek Sota, Datan Allah, Lo Nishe, Minach Pasek Sota, Lo Sisni Minar, Lo Bamadim, Lo Bamadate. You got some of Minacha, now the high, we'll have any level of Senu. Shed Sorasecha, Uminosenu, Lamazeh, was Ham Imanu, Lama Bach, Hanida Bar Papa, Rabbi Bar Papa, Rakma Bar Papa, Achai Bar Papa, Abbar Papa, Amar Bar Papa, Rafa Bar Papa, Rachis Bar Papa, Sorcha Bar Papa, Adar Bar Papa, Dara Bar Papa. Harav now now Hinu. Esther verse Osach Befinu Fios. Amcha Beit Israel. Yanachim to say Amcha Beit Israel. Claudio De Shemecha. From this Osacha Moaves Techachmeni is Osacha Kilolam Hili Bi Samim Bechukech Laman Lo Yevosh Lam Lo Eshkach Bekudecha Ki Ba Chisani. Baruch Adonai Lamadeni Chukecha Amen 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 Sela Vaed. Modim Nach Lav Lefanecha Adonai Lohinu Vlev Osedish Shamta Chalkedim Bishavei Beis Hamidrash Lo Samta Chalkedim Moshe Kranos. Shana Mashimim Vehem Hashimim. Ana Mashimim L'Dvrei Yisrael Vehem Hashimim L'Dvrei B'Telim. Ana Amalim Vehem Amalim. Ana Amalim U'Maklim Schar Vehem Amalim Vehem Maklim Schar. Ana Ratzim Vehem Ratzim. Ana Ratzim L'Chayim L'Abav Vehem Ratzim L'Ver Shachas. Shemar V'Atan Elohim to read them leave erech shachas. Anshe Adamim Urmimal Lo Yichitzu Yimei Ani Eftach Ba. Yes, on Mefarecha. Now Hashem Shazratani Sayem Masach Sota can't has any Laschil Masachtos. Osfarim, Acherim, Usaimam, Lomod, Lamed, Lishmol, Lasos, Likayim, Es Kol Dveris, Almud, Sorasech, Baravam, Zakus, Kol Tanim, Atanim, Ramarayim, Vesamudei, Chachamim, Yamod, Li, Uzari, Shalot, Tamush, Atorami, Pi, Zari, Rezer, Zari, Adolam, Sis Kayim, Bis Halech, Tanche, Osach, Bishach, Lecha, Yishmor Alecha, Bakit Sosa, Ki Sisi Checha. Ki be your bu yemecha veyosifu lecha shanos chayecha orchman b'mina bismola oseh b'machava nayos l'metem nayrach l'mashava. Amen.